Everybody, welcome to Saturday Night Rabbit Hole, and I have Clemmer. It's not Clemmer. It's Walleye _King, and I've got the New Brunswick, Canada guy, better known as Canuck, and Luke is better known as Luke. I don't know what that noise was. It sounded like something happening, but.
Notification.
All right. Big T-shirt Billy's out there. Todd's out there. Todd's in Minnesota. Timmy's out there. Flutter Girl's out there. We had Quake Cat. Kitty Cat's out there. Hi, Cat. Sometime we got to get you on this thing here with us. You can see we don't put no visuals, so not yet anyway. That's maybe in the workings. We'll see how that goes.
Well, Joe saw the dog already.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. And the dog pretty cute. Yeah. Simply Sue's out there. Yeah. We also had Vampy. She was here. I think she left by now. Uncle Milty's here. And Share Bear. Hey, Share Bear, how are you? Susan out there, and Eagles is out there too. Nice to see y'all. Thanks for being here. Always a pleasure to be able to facilitate our discussion. We don't know where it's going to go. We shoot from the hip. That's just our way. And I appreciate all of you for being here. Also appreciate your support, both financially and interactively, because we are an interactive site. It isn't just me putting on a show, because I'm not that pretty, and I don't need a bra, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just not that pretty, and yeah, I'm not pretty at all, in fact. Beyond that, I love being here with y'all. I enjoy the different topics that we tend to, as my chair makes some noise, different topics that we have. And we take these opportunities to go into more depth on a subject matter that has been in the discussion group here on JSL. JSL is located at locals.com, as well as Facebook and YouTube and Twitter or X now, and a few other places. But we're generally 24/7 live here on twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live. And the locals channel will be more, have a lot more stuff that we cannot do here on Twitch due to the constraints that are upon us here. And Twitch is, it's a great little platform, but it's a gaming platform. It's not really what we're trying to do, but it is a place where we can get together and meet and have fun, and not having the constraints of YouTube or any of the other big conglomerates that dictate to you, because they say you can't say, faggot or something. Oops, I just said it here. Hold on. I heard you can't say it. Chappelle said you can't say that word.
Patrick's making money off you already.
Well, faggot's not a bad word, is it? It's a cigarette. Go ahead. You want to put it between your lips. And puff on it, you cigarette smoking wild man, you. But crazy. And hey, we're gonna see where we go with it. Put on the musical shirt, comb the facial hair. More muscle shirt. Not okay. He has if we're talking about Clem, he has a unique attire, let's say, and it is very unique. And kind of surprising, to tell you the truth, when he came out wearing the darn thing. I thought he thought he was in Chicago. You know,
man.
It,
Gotta be from the hood.
Well,
yeah.
the doggy heard the beep, but didn't care about the rest of the words. So she stuck her head up when the beep.
Well, yeah.
Oh, she just did it again. All she hears is
She hears the beep.
Yeah.
How was your week, Luke? I know you did your show last night, and but tell us about the Friday, what you did Friday from morning until mid-afternoon or late afternoon. What did you do?
Oh, I was in the Chamber of Commerce Devil's Lake Open Walleye Fishing Tournament. And we found out the results this morning. We finished 55th place, but we were about mid-pack out of 112 teams, and we weighed just shy of 11 pounds of walleyes. We had 5 fish. So nothing big, but it's a good, respectable number, I guess. You know.
Well, I'm proud of you.
And
because you got fish.
It was really kind of nice because that was our first nice bag of eaters that we got into, let's say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you eat your fish, which is great. What? I just need to know, then I can leave. Neil was about to fly from Joe's. The Undertaker jacket. Yeah. Big T-shirt Billy, he was tripping on that too. Like, what the hell? I thought he was pimp. He going to pimp a Big T-shirt Billy out, going to put him on the street corner, man. I was going, what? That was funny, man. I know most of you didn't see the picture, but it is a private for family here. For those who are on YouTube and everywhere else, when you become part of the family here, you'll see just how we are. We're just a bunch of normal people having fun, and we have a lot of fun. Last night, man, about wore me out. 5.5 hours we played last night, and it was fun. I love the jacket and the glasses. I know, right? Yeah, he loves that color glasses, and that's his color. Where he paints his truck and stuff and everything else. It's kind of a different color blue. I don't know what color blue that is, but
it's called Clemmer's blue.
Okay, it's Clemmer's blue now.
Because it's my blue.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, Canuck, well, how was your week? I know you're babysitting 13 puppies or something like that right now.
Well, 14.
14.
14 adult dogs and 8 puppies, but I don't have to bother with the puppies too much. Just make sure they have food because their mothers look after them because they're little.
Okay.
The oldest ones are about, I think, 5 weeks old.
So you're doing a puppy mill watch.
Yep. Well, I'm doing everything because I multitask.
All right. So how was your week?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
Other than that, there wasn't too much happening.
Yeah, we had a rabbit hole on Wednesday that was posted everywhere. I haven't looked at any of the numbers and how many people actually watched it. Most people here are on JSL have participated in it, so it's not like we're getting a lot of traction out there. But there will come a time when I'm going to have to go back and edit some of these things and sanitize it maybe. But it seems that every time that we started watching the old videos, we got lambasted by YouTube, and they shut us down one time because they found something that's not illegal today, but it was illegal then. And their strike is still there, so whatever. Oh, beep boop.
She just looked when she heard that. She says, "What's that?" She's like looking all around. She thinks it's coming out of the sky or something.
Yeah, that's my my neighbors. They asked me what Luke's name was and where he was, and because they're visiting the truckers down there, and I don't know if it's if the North Dakota people are here or South Dakota people are here. I don't remember what they were. If you remember that Canuck, Luke, my next door neighbor said they're visiting that person. They said, I guess it was, it's too small a town they don't know who you are.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So it's all good. Wednesday. Yeah. Wednesday. So that's who just whistled in. So sorry for the interruption there. But you were saying, Canuck, your week. How did you see the rabbit hole last week? What stood out to you?
Well, just there's still like controversy about it yet, based upon all the data, because everybody's given their opinion of it, but everybody has to read it and then figure out what it says in contrast to what they're doing and all that stuff.
Well, does everybody have the same papers and evidence too? Are they looking at the same stuff as everyone else? I guess that would be.
Yeah, they're just maybe coming at it from a slightly different angle, but some people are supporting it because it's the most comprehensive one they've done so far. But
which took them a few years to do. Now it's not something that they just pulled a rabbit out of their hat. The study was pretty detailed, and the second study that we had, which didn't take away from the first, but I think it really added to the idea about dating things, and it calls into question some of that, how we've been dating some of these events, and just blanketly stating, hey, this level of turbidite, if it's here and there's the ash layer right there, then it's the same date. Well, that doesn't always pan out, because some of the the wells, they basically drop down a pipe into the ground, into the silt, and then pick that up, and then they look at what they have found, and they have found that there is a good correlation, but it's not perfect. And the reason we're saying it, that brought this up in here, is because the first story, which Canuck was talked about the great, massive, supposed earthquake that happened from California all the way to Vancouver. And now there is conjecture to say, well, that might have not happened all at the same time. It could have happened, bang, 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 or it could have happened bang and then bang and then bang, bang. But the idea of having a full margin slip, which is some 800 to 1,200 miles, producing a 9+ or a 10+ earthquake, is a little suspect now. And in because of these new studies, one being the turbidites, one being this article that Canuck brought to us, which is, it separates into sectors the entire West Coast from California to Vancouver Island, explaining through tomography and through vibrations into the ground and reflective reflectology. It's kind of like you get a MRI. It's kind of the same kind of thing but they're doing it into the ground. And they did it all through the whole Pacific Northwest, all the way to Cal. And what they noticed was there are east-west faults, which shocked them. They didn't know about these, and that they semi-correlate with fluvial flows, which is like a river coming out and then it fans out. Fluvial fans, they call them. And they go inland, but they don't know how far inland they go. And then they found out also that each kind of zone, so to speak, there's anywhere from 4 to 6 zones that they don't travel the same speed or the same direction, but in a generalized direction, but they don't happen all of the same. And we're often watching the Pacific Northwest seismic network with vibrations that are happening up there, primarily because that is the greatest risk, according to all the latest geologists and physicists and everybody involved. So that was our discussion last week. If you didn't see that rabbit hole, please go to Locals and look up Joe Slick Live, and you'll see it right there. I don't know, you might see it on my Facebook or in YouTube. Just they don't get a lot of traction, but the place to go is probably on Locals, because that's where all the rabbit holes will end up. And that's why we're doing this live on Locals and broadcasting it everywhere else, or the same thing from the studios. I'm actually big surprised that it's just now the Cascade segments are being discovered. I've been yelling out about it for quite some time, Kat, and I know you've heard that. I didn't have any way to back it up because I'm just an observer, just a Jaffo, and I'm just a citizen person there. But yeah, it encouraged me because I don't see that happening around the world too often. We do get the big giant rips on occasion, and in the reason why Canuck wants to talk about Nankai Trough a little bit too, because he's done the study there, and it'd primarily be the Canuck show if you just turned him over to it. He sent the article, so I have to read it yet. And then I want to have a nice discussion with him on that, probably the next rabbit hole. And we'll get into that. But it correlates with subduction zones and around the planet, and how earthquakes happen in these subduction zones. Now, Pacific Northwest is not the only one. Japan's not the only one. There's Indonesia. There's a ton of them. The maritime continent has a bunch, and Central America has one. Mexico has one. South America has several. And the latest ones that I watched was in our studies, in our discussions, was the Chilean, Peruvian Chilean faults. My mother-in-law just came in. And how those quakes happened in the 1800s, and they were massive quakes. I think it was in 1959 or 1960 as well. And it broke in one spot, broke in another spot, then broke in another spot. But if you took the whole power of all of it together, that'd be pretty darn massive. And a lot of damage occurred. Versus the Indonesian quake that happened, was it 2014? Yeah, why doesn't offshore PNW have a trough? Interesting too, huh?
She keeps changing position on my lap. And she's making noises.
Yeah. Yeah. there's a reason I don't have dogs like that one around. But he's just a little puppy. Needs a lot more attention than I have to give. But the Indonesian one was a big rip, and it was a 9.2, and that was 800-mile rip. But it didn't come in sections; it was all at once. And so those things do happen. And in 1960, up in 1960 up in Alaska, the Valdez one, which Anchorage got destroyed. That I don't know how long that one was, but that was a pretty damn big quake. Was that on the Fairweather Fault, Canuck? Do you remember or not?
No, it was on the subduction
Okay.
fault that heads out towards Kodiak Island.
Okay. All right, well, that's interesting too. So I don't know how that rip happened. I haven't studied that one, but in looking at these different areas,
they didn't think it'd go that big there before it happened,
right?
but they knew that it could go bigger. Like once you get out past Kodiak Island towards all the Aleutian Islands.
Right. Well, it's interesting how all these different subduction zones, and because most people watch quakes because they are interested in on the big quakes that destroy everything, or they're afraid because they want to know, is the big one happening, and I want to whine about it, or I want to talk about it, or I just want to be afraid. A lot of people, that's how they feel alive. If they feel fear, they're not alive otherwise. So it's pretty crazy. All these different searches that we're doing. We're not really focused on the earthquakes themselves. The earthquakes are kind of a result of what's going on, and where our search is for what's the mechanism, and that's kind of what we do here at JSL. And part of the discussions are, hey, these reports that get put out. I mean, I get letters all the time. Do I have time to read them? No, but I got to make time for them. I got to get my shit together, man. And I'm trying to do some things here. But it's a little darker than Quake Cat's words there. But anyway, on the same note, or which is a related but unrelated note, Iceland. Iceland is been having a lot of volcanic stuff happening, as everybody knows. And I think there's Canuck knows a little bit more because he's been studying it today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Canuck, and you can tell people. I'll kind of look to see if I can't find some images for us.
Yeah, well, as of 2 or 3 hours ago, the Met Office says the eruption is actually over because there's no more lava in the cone. So that's the latest, because I guess they flew a drone over it and took pictures of it.
Oh, yeah.
What's the ground deformation doing right now?
Going back up.
So it's building up again underneath.
Yeah. But they're still getting the lava going over the walls.
Right.
And they think what caused that was something fell, like with the cone when the lava stopped coming out of it, that a piece of it or something, this is their speculation, must have fallen into the lava pool and that was accumulated there next to it and caused it to come out and go over the wall in 3 or 4 spots, I guess.
Right. It looks like it's going over the wall right now. I'm watching the images. It's actually on fire. The wall's on fire.
Yeah, but they said that, like, it's not moving super fast. Like, once it gets over the wall, it's going there, digging like a secondary wall, building up a secondary wall and a trench and all that stuff. That was the last I heard, but that was 2 or 3 hours ago. So who knows?
Has it gotten to the Blue Lagoon yet?
No, they said it's about, I don't know, a kilometer from the power plant itself.
Oh, I don't know. It looks closer than me than that. I'm looking at Sunuka right now live. Can't show it because of the copyright stuff. Sunuka is online. You can look at that. It's there on YouTube, live from Iceland. I do support these people, so I can talk about them because they're really just people that show you the stuff. And there's a couple of videos out there, and one of them, you can see the flames have breached the wall and are, I don't know, it looks like the wall's on fire. And another spot where it is, I don't know if you can see Sunuka here. Yeah, I got Sunuka right here. All right, so here's Sunuka for JSL. There you go. You can see it. I don't know that this is the vent, but the collapse. Having a big volcano vent, and then one side collapsing, and then it pushed out into a pool that was right next to it, and then it just traveled downhill right to the wall and went over the wall. I think, yeah, he's got a bedmate tonight for sure. He's
Yeah, well, she did last night, but she slept for like 8 hours, so it wasn't too bad.
Not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
Is that him putting? That's a fire truck right there next to it, trying to cool it down. Wow, this guy is ballsy. Let me see. I'll share it with y'all. Sunuka. Yeah, there we go. You can see right here. This is live from Iceland. Sunuka, Grindavik, Cam 4. You can see the fire truck right there, pushing off water, trying to cool it down as the magma has breached the wall and is traveling that way. And they're just trying to make that hard so to harden up. But you can see the steaming over here, so he's not gonna he's gonna have to get the hell out of there. I don't know, man. You think they'd have another one pushing water back here too, but this is slowly moving over the top, and why it's all on fire, I don't know.
Well, they said that they were going to have to bring in like a whole bunch of hoses and pipes because they didn't have enough fire trucks.
I've only seen 2 fire trucks over the last few days.
Because that's how they did it back there in the 70s.
In the 70s, yeah, they had ships, shooting water up on the shore and pumping it right out of the ocean. But they're pretty far from the ocean right here. But I guess they can pump it from the Blue Lagoon. Pump the damn thing.
That's what somebody said. Yeah, use blue water from the Blue Lagoon.
But it's a limited supply, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty sad, but it is really, really close to the what do you call it? The power station. For those over there on Twitch, you can see here. Here's the power station right here in the top right-hand side of your screen. There's the road that goes out to the barrier. Then there's a road that goes over at the top of the wall out there where the breaches happened over here in this corner. And up there where the smoke is. And there's a fire truck out there trying to cool it down the road path. I don't know why, man. It's already breached it. And it's trying to breach it down here on the opposite side of the road, on the south side of the road too, because you can see how red it is. That's wild, man. Hey, these walls are 30 feet damn tall, man. They're way the hell up there, and they don't have enough material, I think, to build them any taller. Because that lava or magma actually will melt the wall itself. You know.
Oh,
So,
she's licking my hand and my fingers, but
yeah, she's hungry.
she yawns and then makes noise too. So I'm hoping she'll go to sleep, but we'll see.
I know how to put it to sleep. Got a garbage bag? I'm teasing you.
She'd probably eat the garbage bag.
Probably.
Chew on it.
And then fart a big bubble, right? But yeah. So they say it stopped. The eruption has stopped or ceased. I'm still seeing 12 earthquakes in the last 12 hours. They're all really, really small. 7 kilometers all the way to under 2 kilometers in depth. And so there's still movement down there. Did they say it's rising somewhere, Canuck? Or lifting?
Yeah, it's still doing the Sandy magma chamber. It's still rising.
It's filling again then, huh?
Yeah, but they just have no idea how long it's going to take this time. And
yeah. Yeah, well, this last one took 3 months, right?
Yeah.
3 months to fill up the magma chamber, and then when the magma chamber fills up, it goes and it squeezes out like a toothpaste, and it's really done.
But they're worried because the lava buildup is so high now. They're going to have to build everything up more because if it does the same thing again, it's just going to go right over the top, right?
Now we have another one down here, putting this one out.
But they have time to do stuff, they think, but we'll see.
I don't know. There's some smoke that just happened a little closer. And a truck went out to it. Nope, there's a trucks down below too. Yeah, I think they're working on a secondary wall. Is that what you've heard?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Whatever however long ago that was, 2 or 3 hours. It was still daylight when I saw that.
Yeah, it's still daylight right now when I'm looking at. There's some smoke where they're doing something, but it's too far away for me to see. It's at Sunukert number 2.
Oh, now she's licking my microphone thing. She'll be talking on it next.
Yeah. This is earlier than working on it. Yeah, it's gotten really, really bad. How long old is this? 10 hours ago? Well, I'll tell you, in the last 10 hours, it's gotten really bad. I can see Volcaholics, he's got it, a video zoomed in where they're trying to build a wall a little deeper, and it's breached the wall there. And because that's where they're at now, but that's the road. The place I was saying it's burning. There's another little small place, but yeah, it's hotter than hell there, dude. That magma, I don't know if they're going to stop it. Yeah, that's wild, dude. That's wild. This is old. All that magma's underneath.
Well, they think it's coming from the lava pool there. That's right next to the
cone. The cone. Yeah. It's a spoiled dog. That's all it is, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Somebody's baby, right? Is spoiled. Sorry about that.
She's looking. She goes, "What's that noise?"
I know, and it's in the background. And one of the websites I'm watching. Have you see? You said the Met Office has now declared that the eruption has stopped. They're not saying anything in regards to this new magma being pushed over the wall. They're not even saying a thing.
Well, not too much, because when they made the report, that would have been like earlier in the day, because they said that they sent a drone over and there wasn't anything in the cone anymore. So they were saying
Where's
it's
all this going?
pretty much over. It should be on the Met Office report, because I think that's what I read it on. And then I saw drone pictures of it too, but I forget who it was that was showing that.
Meteorological office report. Eruption ongoing. Updated June 18th, but they don't have it on their website updated yet. Eruption ongoing and lava flow mostly to the northeast. That's on the 18th. Here we're on the 22nd.
Maybe they just did it on the Iceland one, but they haven't.
That's
They
where I'm
haven't
at. Icelandic Met Office. And it says on 18th, updated June 18th. The eruption has been rather stable the past few days. Crater remains active. Lava flow in most of the north, but part of the lava accumulates in the south of the crater. The lava flows in the north, enters the lava lake near Mount Singerfell, and continues northwest, where the lava field continues to thicken. Small opening in the western crater rim appeared yesterday at noon, and from there, a stream has flowed a short distance to the west toward Mount Sunnuker, but the stream has since been inactive, little to no seismicity. So that's what's on their.
Well, maybe they haven't converted the Icelandic one into English yet.
I don't know.
Because the guy, I think it was that Hilderman guy, because he posts all the Icelandic reports. That's what I saw it on now, I remember. Because he actually lists them all, like when they come out in Icelandic, but then he translates them to English or whatever. So it could be that it just hasn't been, today's one hasn't been translated yet. Because that seems 3 days that's like Friday.
Yeah, it's old. Yeah. On the 18th is the latest.
Thursday.
Yeah. So, eruption north of Greenwich has stopped. All right. So yeah, the 18th is their last one. That's the only one. Yeah, 6/18. So. Eruption has ongoing lava flows from one crater. Lava flows mostly to the north. Uplift continues at Svartfinsingi. At the similar pace, the rate uplift is slightly lower than before the eruption started. Gas dispersion forecast is currently recorded. Measurements can be found here. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So they don't have on the Mets. I don't see anything on the Met. And yeah. So hey, whatever. I don't know where you had the other guy.
Well, his name is like Hilderman, so he's from like Iceland right there.
Yeah. And they're battling a couple of different fronts right now over there on Sunnuker. So Sunnuker 2 of camera. Sunnuker 4 camera zoomed in where the guys are walking up to him. How the hell can they walk up to it? You think their boots are burning?
Well, they had all the equipment really close to it yesterday too, because I saw they had the dump truck and the dozers right close to it.
That's crazy, man. For those on JSL, there you go. There's a couple of guys right here with a hose in the hand using it, and they're trying to cool it down. Looks like they're moving it toward where the flame is. Yeah, they actually rotated. They must have had a pump out there. So now they've rotated the pump around the corner where it's breached the wall. You can still see it pouring out, 200 feet away from the guys. So it is moving. It's ever so slow. It's just down, on the left pane on the top, everybody. If you follow the lights down to where the camera split, I just saw rock fall. It was hot, and rock fell. So these lava crews are bad. No kidding, right, Kat? They are amazing. And I don't know why they didn't put more of these pumps out there. Maybe they can't get the water. That's all. Because it's awfully close. I mean, you're talking within a mile to the above ground, terminals here where I think they do the same thing. They pump water in there and it creates steam and creates power. Is that how it works, Canuck?
Yeah, somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
Into
pump
a volcano.
they pump the water through it somehow, and then the waste product is what they use for the Blue Lagoon water. That's what it actually makes. So that's how they got the Blue Lagoon water.
So they're all swimming in feces?
Well, no, it's like whatever it makes, like what with all the minerals and stuff in it afterwards, like after it goes through the power plant.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So it major.
Yeah, it makes that bluish colored water with all the minerals in it.
All right. I know if this power plant goes down, a lot of people are going to be hurting over there in Reykjavik and everywhere else. I think in Reykjavik maybe even gets some of the power from this plant. Is that right, Canuck? Or
yeah, it generates power. Plus, it also sends the hot water through the pipes to both. Well, Grindavik, but also like Keflavik and one of the other.
Right.
So it sends it like out to where the airport is too, I guess.
Well, they heat a lot of homes in that town with that steam, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hot water.
Yeah, I got shut down one time for 2 weeks, and they brought it back up. But
yeah, that was the first time there when the lava went over the pipe.
Right.
But see, it could do that again if it goes far enough. But because it's so high right now, right?
And I did see another picture of the telephone poles burning. So when they cut the wire, they put the wires up on the telephone poles. The telephone poles are now caught fire. I don't know if that's an old video or a new video.
Yeah, they fixed that already. They came up with some other way to put the power lines up over everything so they could rehook the power up to Grindavik again. They did that like a couple days after it happened.
These guys are crazy, man. They're out there on a point, not 30 yards from the darn hot 500-degree plus magma or lava rolling down the hill, and they're putting water on it. And it's just crazy.
She's all squirmy tonight.
Yeah.
She don't stay still. Maybe she hears all the other voices and she says, I don't know where they're coming from.
Well, she just wants attention too. So, yeah. What's Kat say? They're badass. Yep. Yeah, I've been hearing about another volcano over there that's picking up. If you see the quakes on that on the 12-hour thing, and the green dots are the volcanoes. There's another volcano that's to the east, and it's got some quakes around it too. Did you notice that? Can I?
Which one is it?
You can
Does it say?
No, I can't even read it. It's so damn tiny. Kitty Cat might know what it is, but
She's looking at the rabbit hole on the screen there now.
yeah.
Maybe she
It's the
thinks
bottom
it's
left-hand side.
real
You can see
rabbit.
the map. Yeah,
Well, it might be the next volcanic system over. I don't know.
probably. Yeah,
Krasavik or whatever it is.
Yeah, it could be just another mountain. Yeah. But there's like four earthquakes over there. The other earthquakes are still in line with the Sunuker and all that. But well, we'll see what happens, eh?
Yeah, who knows? It's crazy. You'd think if it wasn't erupting anymore that the lava would stop, but who knows? Who knows what it's doing under all the old lava? It could be going every which way. Because they said it did it like the other previous eruptions, that it would still flow like underneath and then come out, even like a long time after the eruption finished. So who knows?
Yeah, it says on Volcano Discovery, it said, frack, pushed a button and it disappeared. Anyway, it said that it's on the 22, the report is the activity in the crater has been gradually weakening over the past few days. And if I turn it on over here, and it could be seen in the drone footage by civil defense. It seems that most of the lava travels through a lava tube system and remains hidden from the view on the surface. It emerges from the main flow margin on the north of Slingerville and from in the form of 3 small lava flows where it has crossed the barrier. In order to prevent the lava flowing onto the Tranagrinavik, construction and lava cooling have been ongoing over the last night. All right. So that's what the latest. Ebu went to 14,000 a day. Carrie Minsky just vibrating out there. Little Toby, about 8,000. Simiru at 2,000. Marapi, 11,000 out of 9, so it's nothing. Dacono is at 8 out of 36. It's pretty good pop. Fuego, normal. Nevada del Ruiz. Possible emissions, you can't tell. Same with Riventor and Peru. What's going on? Nothing out of Peru. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of volcanic activity to report today. But other than the Iceland deal. And this Iceland, it's due to the land spreading apart. Am I correct? Or up and up?
Yeah, that's how it finds its way up to the surface, right? It's through the faults and cracks from it spreading apart.
Yeah, all right.
Well, and also that's two of the the most major plates that there are: the North American plate and the Eurasia plate. You don't get much bigger than that.
Right.
Yeah, because they're debating what the cycle is. Like they have a whole bunch of papers and studies on that too, trying to figure out if it's like an 800-year cycle or a 2,000-year cycle or whatever, to figure out like when it's going to come up in that area. Like they know the lava on the east side of Blue Lagoon itself was from 2,000 years ago, but the stuff on the west side of Blue Lagoon is from 800 years ago. So, like, where it's coming up right now is where it did 2,000 years ago. So that's what they're debating in all these papers and stuff in Iceland. If this is like the 2,000-year cycle or the 800-year cycle or all that, because it's coming up in a slightly different area from what they thought it was going to.
Yeah, even on the pulse with Silky. You watch her at all?
Yeah, I watch her. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's so many.
I know. She's doing her thing, to get her name out there. I like her. She watches it just like we do,
Well, and she's always going on about the Lagoonies, which I find funny.
Yeah.
So I don't think most tourists even care, right? They're just there to visit, if they even know anything's happening.
Mm.
So, because it doesn't really say anything about it on the website, I guess, the Blue Lagoon website. So, and if they're just coming there to tour Iceland, I don't think they even think about it. Especially if they're coming from Asia or whatever. Because I watched it there one day, and the Iceland Explorer guy, he was driving the bus tour, and I think it was all Asian people and Australia, he said.
And they were the onlookers?
Yeah, the tourists that were there, and they had like older people and little kids and everything.
Mm.
So, and he was saying that when he asked them, he asked them if they knew anything about the volcano. Most of them said, well, no, what are you talking about? So it just depends, because the average person isn't keeping track of all this stuff, right? Not like what we do. So that's the difference. So their trip to Iceland could have been planned who knows how long ago. And it's just part of their thing that they're doing. So Blue Lagoon is one of the things they're visiting. Even though there's all sorts of other things in Iceland they can see besides that, but Blue Lagoon is one of the most popular ones and makes the most money, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of weird. They made a secondary, even a tertiary wall. But I don't know if that's going to hold, because the smoke is like right there on that wall. So there's a little wall that they made.
They just need to dig a trench and direct it out of there.
Yeah.
Well, see, the problem is it's all downhill from where that's coming, right? Because the power plant itself in Blue Lagoon sets down in a depression.
In the valley, yeah.
So that's the problem. Once it breaches those walls, it's going to run down towards it. So even if you put up another wall, it's just going to build up on the other wall.
It's going to build up on that wall, yeah.
Because I think they tried digging a trench the other time when it first did it. So it kind of went into the trench, but then it just filled the trench in and didn't make. So then they decided this time they were going to build another wall. But see, they're already talking about already, because when the next eruption comes, well, what if all the lava goes over the top of the stuff that's already piled up? Well, then it'll just go right over. So they said they're going to have to build it up more, or all the walls.
They're going to have to build a dang mountain, aren't they?
Yeah. But there's a limit to how far they can do that, too.
True.
Well, they better hire Parker Schnovel there from Gold Rush to build them a wall.
Yeah. Well, that's what somebody said. They're going to have to bring in more equipment to do all this stuff, because this isn't even like doing anything with Reykjavik yet, because they don't even have the plans made up for that yet.
And the bad thing is, it's everything that for equipment, heavy equipment that's going to have to come in there is going to have to come in by boat.
Yeah. Because they don't know what it's going to do. They think based upon the past, it starts one place and then moves like west and then up, but they think other times it did it like the opposite way. So who knows?
Here's the
That's crazy
one
stuff.
visual for those on my brother and my sister and his wife are over there. I told him before I left this. Shrugged his shoulders. They didn't care. You can see right here. Let me share this. Live from Iceland, man. Come on now. I don't know if they'll shut me off for it. Oh man, I don't want to risk it from YouTube. Basically, they made this road right here all the way where the overload is, where it's overflowing, and there's around this little hill here for everybody on JSL. This is live from Iceland, Sunukar second view, and it's live. So they got a water cannon over here trying to cool it down because it's breached the wall and it's coming down and filling up the area that Canuck has just said. And they're blowing water here as well to cool this down because that's what this is, because the magma is come up against the secondary wall, the interior wall. And so they're trying to cool it down because they're going to have to build the sucker up higher. And
well, they just need to use some explosives and bring in the real heavy equipment, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know.
Yeah, but Iceland doesn't have much, like as much mining equipment as like what the bigger places would have, so they'd have to bring it in.
Well,
Bring it in by boat.
If I was the American president, I'd send 25 big D10s over there, or D12 or D11s, and help them people out. And you don't hear anything from this cotton picking president we have right now.
Well, they're busy.
Nothing from Sleepy Joe.
Well, they're busy transport other stuff other places right now.
Yeah, they transport the drugs everywhere they want. I know. Yeah. And the people.
Well, it's not just drugs, but well, you see, it's like everything. If you watch Monkey Works, it don't take much to put a CB boat to go over there and help. You know, these people help us. You know, watch for the Russian subs. We ought to get off our dead ass and send them some help. You know, and send the CBs up there to, you know, to do what they need to do and build another wall. I don't know, man. It looks like one wall. The original wall is probably some 60 feet. The new wall that they're built, which got water cooling off on the other side of it as well, it's about 20 feet tall. And the magma is coming over the top of the 30-foot wall or 60-foot wall. It's way the hell up there. Wow. Well, the ones that were by Grindavik were 30. Yeah. Tall. Yeah. When they added the stuff on top of them, but I don't know how. Yeah, this thing is way above that. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to use some explosives, make a big channel in there, and get them dozers in there pushing all that.
Well, there's all these tunnels, these magma tunnels that are going through there. Out in front where it crossed the road, there's magma tunnels out there.
Location: near east coast of Honshu, Japan. Class: moderate. Magnitude: 5.0.
5.0 east.
Well, Japan.
Coast of Japan, yeah.
And
well, that's why you use
the U.S. just doesn't have it. You know, typical.
Well, give them about half an hour. You got to have their coffee break.
Yeah, Japan's calling it a 4.9. Depth is 50 kilometers. Off Fukushima Prefecture. Yeah. Yeah. Here's another one. Yeah. So the shaking was pretty darn good at Fukushima, sorry. on Twitch, you can see what I'm doing here.
Well, it looks pretty close to the coast on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. Yeah.
That's about where that 9.1 hit back in 2011, isn't it, Canuck?
Yeah, inside the trench. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Terrain here. Yeah, it happened like, if you're online, you can see it happened like right out here. The battle off Sendai. And this one here is just a little bit south of the Sendai. Just around that corner. So right out here. Yeah, well, subduction zone quake, man.
Yeah, well, the doggy's sound asleep now.
Don't move. We did have a 5.0 out on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. We've been waiting for that right off near Ascension Island. And
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there today, wasn't there?
There's a yeah. Well, according to USGS, one. We just don't know.
There were two of them on there earlier.
Yeah. Interesting. If you follow that line right through to Dominican Republic or PR, then follow straight up in Oklahoma and keep going, you get to Thatcher, Utah, and then up into Canuck land, and they shut us off. So we can't see it all. But that liniment is lit up right now. So I was waiting for...
that line would run right down to Fiji, wouldn't it?
Let me see. No, Kerguelen.
Okay.
Kerguelen. And we go up and over. Fiji's over here. Yeah, that would be about I don't want to. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, well, the segment of Cascadia that supposedly makes the big quakes is the segment that basically goes between Texas liniment and the Olympic
The
Wallowa.
Olympic Wallowa, yeah.
So it's the segment that's in between those two.
Well, the Texas liniment, I have it on the Blanco fracture zone. Where do you call it? Do you call it off the...
Yeah, I think it goes right through the Blanco fracture zone and then keeps going right on to Sand Point.
Right. Okay. And then the Olympic one is right here. What else? I don't see if they don't have a name for the strike slip pipe here.
Yeah, the Olympic one basically comes off there, the Olympic Peninsula, and goes right through the Juan de Fuca Strait and keeps going up like towards
Seminole Seamount, just right off the Seminole Seamount, and it goes right through
towards
Olympia.
Like Kodiak Island. It goes up that way. So like more closer towards Kodiak Island and Anchorage.
Like we had a 3.5 up in that range he's talking about now. Here's Kodiak Island. It just comes out, if you draw a line, it comes out just south of Kodiak Island. But Sandpoint being right over here, Kodiak being here, there is a few quakes up here. Patton Seamount, that's what's out here. That's been somewhat busy. And
I think Olympic Wallowa goes right on through and it connects to Wichita Lane, because they used to call it Wichita Lane, and then that's the one I think that goes right through Florida and then all the way to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I see it going through Rainier, going through Yakima, Kennewick, Walla Walla, and then you just draw that line right through the park and through Nebraska, Kansas, and New Madrid. And then
Yeah, in Kansas, it goes right through Wichita, Kansas, which is why they called that Wichita Lane. So they said there was another liniment there that they called Wichita Lane. So they put the three together. They called it Olympic Wallowa Wichita,
Wichita.
and then it kept going, but then they never gave it a name after that. Well, there's other ones that are like the same orientation that they have other names for, but.
Yeah, it goes to me. It goes through after it goes through Wichita, it goes through Memphis and then Atlanta, and then off the coast of Florida. But doesn't hit Florida. But you might.
Yeah, I have it going through Memphis, and then it goes on the angle that I have it. It's going right where they get the quakes in northern Florida, there around Jacksonville, where all the mines are,
Right.
and then it goes right down across, and it goes right under Miami, basically, where that building had the sinkhole and fell in it. Because that happened.
You're bending that thing. Yeah, you're bending it all over the place. Okay.
Well, not really. Depends on the angle that you're doing it, right?
All right. Trying to, you got to go in through Memphis and Wichita. If I drew a line from Wichita to Memphis, it goes through Atlanta and through South Carolina. It doesn't even hit Florida. But you have it going through Memphis, Montgomery into Jacksonville. So Jacksonville, Montgomery, Memphis.
Yeah, because there's another liniment there that matches that line. It's called Florida something liniment. I can't remember the name of it, but it's on the same line.
Oh,
and it was in the.
She shut it off.
I think it was one of the things I read about how the Caribbean formed, and they had like all the
Florida transform. Okay, thank you, Kat.
Yeah.
I can look that up.
And like if you keep going on that line, you'll see that it lines up with the other stuff. Like they only take it so far, right? But then
we both extend it out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when I first read about that one, it was on a paper, them talking about how the Caribbean formed. So they had all these things that were going like northwest, southeast that were coming down into the Caribbean. And that's what they were showing, like where it came from. But of course, it only went up into Florida so far. So then they gave it a name.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch like that because there's ones in Mexico that are same thing. So if you look up like liniments in Mexico, they'll give you ones that are on that same angle, northwest to southeast. They have a bunch of different names.
Yeah.
And there's ones that come down like through Louisiana and all that too, that they have other names, but I can't remember what they all are. And you'll find that quakes go along those lines, and the same lines are like where the old ancient volcanoes are too. So it's pretty interesting.
Ancient volcanoes. When you say ancient, what do you mean by ancient?
Well, that's what they call it. They call them ancient volcanoes because they're hard to identify, but they are there. Like there's a whole bunch that are in Mississippi, and there's one under right just below Louisiana there, and whatever the parish name is, Plaquemine Parish. I can't remember what the name of the parish is, but it's like
a volcano down there.
Yeah, it's what do they call it? It's buried under all the sediment that comes out from the Mississippi.
The Mississippi dumps, what is it, 20 tons of silt every single day?
Yeah. And it's called, I can't remember what they called it, Door Point or something like that.
Yeah.
But they found it when they were doing studies for drilling for oil down there. So they found a ancient volcano buried under the silt, but it's all on like the same northwest to southeast line. It's the one that goes through Jackson, Mississippi, because there's the volcano under Jackson. But there's other ones besides that too that are in Mississippi that are on the same line. So when you like investigate those ancient
You're talking about the one in
Right.
from Jackson to Natchez, Louisiana, and then interior to the western side of Louisiana.
Yeah, it goes up
Okay.
through, and then the one there where they have all the diamonds, whatever that one's called.
I don't know.
That one's on the same line.
That's a northeast to southwest line.
You know, I would like to kind of quick touch on, what did you say, 20 tons of silt a day, right, Joe?
Something like that.
Okay,
Every second. I'm sorry.
every second. Okay, so that's like 3 small dump truck loads of silt going out every second.
Every second, yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
you can compare 20 tons a second to.
Yeah, I got to see what the one
I
in Louisiana.
saw an art. I posted it last night. I posted a bunch of jokes too. A lot of the good stuff, and I was laughing my tail off last night.
I mean, I was just referencing so the folks out there can realize
Right.
what that number actually, they can picture that number, you know.
It could be 200 tons. I knew it was a 2, and I thought 20. I think, but it's every second. And
Yeah,
and the argument the guy was making was the Earth is younger than we're saying, and it's
right. But just so they can picture it, it's 3 very small dump truck loads or 2 really big overloaded dump truck loads. You
Right.
know,
every second
every
that's
second.
being pushed out, and I guess in a given rate.
That's quite an astronomical number at the end of the day, too. You know,
And it's filling up. And if you look off the coast, the what the Mississippi does to the sediment that's out here, the fluvial fan, if you will, out of New Orleans, is massive. It's crazy. The idea we talked about the video with the other professor, the real nice old man. What the heck's his name? Oh man, I see his face right now. Oh, there he is, Myron. This type of New Orleans, the Mississippi Delta, that existed all the way to Canada from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up the backside of the Rockies, all the way up, including the Salt Sea. And this happened 110 million years ago.
right?
And then 50 million years ago, the Rockies started again, and they don't know why. It started, it stopped. There's a big lake or water channel from Edmonton, Alberta, all the way to Gulf of Mexico. United States didn't look like that. It is, it basically was a bunch of shallow plains like Mississippi, but it all filled in.
I mean, I guess the question I would have is it a failed rift zone?
Well, it got filled in by all the mountains on either side.
But I mean, is it a failed, not a filled, but a failed rift zone?
Can they fail? That's I have trouble with that. Oh, it's a failed rift zone. Not just you, because you're probably repeating what somebody has said. And I'm like, well, what does it mean to be a failed rift zone? Does that mean it stopped?
Yeah, that means it, it was, in the process of becoming a rift zone, but didn't complete it, and then it, for whatever reason, it, that pressure moved on.
Well, you have the Rio Grande. That's a rift. You have Wasatch hurricane fault system. I don't know if that's a rift, but I call it a rift, or it's a scar anyway. And then on the other side of the Great Basin, we have, Panamint. We have Owens Valley. We have Death Valley. These major valleys, and then the huge rift, which I think is part of the severe, which is right through the middle of the Sierra Nevadas.
Well, I don't view them as failed because I'm viewing them as a liniment, right? So,
Yeah.
so I don't think they really
They
failed.
still exist.
They're all still,
Yeah.
they're all still active and they're still doing stuff.
Right. So
It's just that it hasn't completed the rifting process. Well, who
Right.
knows? Maybe it will yet. You don't know.
Yeah,
Drop an asteroid on it someplace and it might complete itself. You never know.
right, and we're only here for a very short time compared to what geological aspects happen in Earth time.
right.
The plates moving from one side of the planet to the other. I mean, that could take a billion years, but it does happen.
Because I'm pretty much convinced that the lineaments are what attract the asteroids. But that's a whole other.
Yeah. I have to kind
Also-
of go into your hypothesis and say how you think that happens, because
Well, I should say space rocks because it's not just necessarily asteroids.
Well, that one that flew over Russia back a few years ago, wasn't that asteroid trajectory straight along a line of one of the lineaments up there?
Probably, I can't remember, but it didn't hit the ground, right? It blew up before.
Yeah, it went in some lake, if I remember right.
Oh, I thought it made just like a big shock wave that.
Yeah, it did. It broke up in the atmosphere, but they found pieces of it in some lake. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't
And
remember.
don't ask me to pronounce it because, oh my God, that's like all the K's and the Z's and the X's you don't use ever on the typewriter.
Yeah.
right. What I'm trying to do is draw what's going on with the basin and range and the uplifts that have happened as a result of mountain building on the west and the east, for that matter. And the
Can I ask you, hasn't it been proven that the Rocky Mountains were from two subplates slamming together and them both buckling upwards?
Well, I don't know. There's differing things on that now, so I'm not sure about which one it was that caused it to go up, like to make the actual mountains.
But they say it's like two subplates that have smashed together to make one big continent now.
right, and what I was going to bring is what you just said. There's the East Coast. There was a rift. There's the mid plains. There's a rift. There's a mountain range, and a small and another mountain range which is the Wasatch, and then there's a spreading center, base in a range, basically a rift, a spreading. And then you have the Sierra Nevadas, and then a valley, and then coastal range and out. The base in a range is moving opposite, if I'm correct. Am I correct on that? Or is the West Coast moving faster and it just pulling away? Because that's never been real clear. You have the mountains that were created some 50 million years ago or 80 million years ago, right there in Salt Lake City, Utah. These things are like boom, out of freaking nowhere. That's when North America ran into something and it created something. And
but
then,
just on your chart you've shared, Joe, more than one, the numbers out on the plate on the end of the West Coast are running faster than just the numbers just west of the Rocky Mountains, if I remember right.
yeah, I mean, from the Great Lakes, it's moving at 21. In the south, which is New Mexico, Texas, it's moving west at 24.
Yeah,
And
but then offshore California, it's
70. It's
Yeah.
moving northwest, and then it's moving northeast off the Juan de Fuca from Cobb toward the subduction zone, and in Vancouver Island. So, and that's moving against North America, and it's moving faster than North America. So, what happens when you hit a brick wall with your car? You're running 10 miles an hour. How much power was actually hit? Was it 10 or was it something else?
Well, you're looking at that the wrong way. You're looking at horsepower gets you up to speed, but it's
I was looking at the kinetic energy. Actually, that's what I was looking at.
Will carry you through the brick wall.
Right. So the kinetic energy being displaced is 40 some millimeters every year at the Pacific Northwest, because there's 21 coming at it and there's 26 going into it. So
yeah, and then you got 59 pulling away from it northwest of there.
Yes, too. Going north. Yeah, because that's part of the Pacific Plate. The Cobb, or the spreading center at Cobb, which is part of the EPR, which goes under North, in my mind, goes under North America, comes out at Baja, and continues.
That spot that you're talking about reminds me of like a key slot with no key in it. That it's just waiting for the key to be in there and start turning it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because just at your chart that you're looking at, it looks like it wants to go clockwise.
It does, and it does move clockwise. The Pacific Northwest, the whole darn area, there's a spot where they said, well, this is the center, and we don't know why it's turning. Well, you got this big old beast out here, the Pacific Ocean. It's pushing on the Gorda, and it's pushing on the Blanco. It's shoving it 26 speed, right? Millimeters. It's going at 70. It's coming out from under Baja.
It's trying to pull out in a way, is what it's trying to do.
Yeah. And because these brakes, that's what's being pushed and shoved. And that's the subduction zone. The dynamics of this subduction zone is the fact that the edge of the Juan de Fuca plate, which I think is a Pacific, but it broke off and they're calling it the Juan de Fuca. And there's a spreading center there. There's a strike slip, which is the Blanco fracture zone, and a strike slip, which is the Gorda fracture zone there. In the reds, you can see here, those are spreading. It means the magma comes up and goes both ways. It's like what's happening up there in Iceland. That's what's happening where the Cobb Seamount is. Now, is it doing as much as Iceland? I don't know because I can't see underneath there. And I think Kat's been really studying this quite a bit. She's really been hot something about the Cobb lately. And what does she say? One example of Fade Rift is the Mississippi Valley embayment, a depression through which upper and the Mississippi River flows. Occasionally connected rift arms are developed concurrently, creating multiple boundaries. Acting rift. Rift is a spreading center, basically, meaning magma comes up and it's a weakness in the plate, and it creates more land going both directions away from the center point, like what's happening out in the middle of the Atlantic. That's a rift.
Right.
So when North America was connected to Africa, there may have not been anything out there. But when it decided to leave North America, decided to leave Africa, it went over the rift, which is the Atlantic. And in so doing, it may have pushed out the EPR, because all these things were way south. I think that's the hardest thing to do, to say, okay, move everything back 40 million years. Where were you in 40 million years? Well, the Mendocino was in San Francisco, 400 miles south. 80 million years ago, it was in Los Angeles. Everything in the plate was moving north.
Yeah, but you have to remember, see, you're doing it by the faults too. So if the fault wasn't there before, there was something else that was moving it before. Just we don't know what to call the fault.
Well, I think the faults are evidence of something going on, and I think the cracks in the Pacific are real. I think they're the originals. The Clipperton, the Clarion, the Murray, the Blanco, the Mendocino, the Pioneer. All of these are due to the Pacific hitting something and breaking. And these are pressure, like buildup, like mountain building. I mean, it's no joke. If we looked at the Gorda Escarpment, which is the Mendocino, how deep that is and how high that thing is. And it just so happens that from that space, everything is flowing towards Seattle.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is all those ocean fracture zones are more east-west.
Right.
But the hotspot tracks, as you go up, like in the Pacific, are northwest to southeast.
Yeah. Or southwest to northeast, yeah, which is the track of Yellowstone.
Yeah, but Yellowstone's odd because it goes the opposite way.
Well,
Northeast.
well, that's the going thought process too, right? It was off California 55 million years ago.
Yeah, but there are other lineaments that do that too. We just don't talk about them very much. Colorado lineament and Great Falls tectonic zone lineament.
Right.
All those, they go.
I think that on the unsaid,
southwest,
which I bring up quite a bit, Wawa, that volcano, 35 million years ago, was and is more massive than Yellowstone, and it blew itself up.
Because where the 6.5 was in Idaho, that's where Great Falls tectonic zone lineament intersects the owl.
Okay, yeah, right here's the owl, Sawtooth Valley. You're talking about Stanley, Idaho.
Yeah, because when they said the fault that was on, they didn't know it was there before, and it was southwest to northeast one. That the actual 6.5 was on.
Yeah, it came out of Boise and went northeast. That's
Yeah.
what they thought.
But it matches
The Miller Mountain, that's kind of where it was. And we're still getting quakes up there, which is really odd because normally they said this area doesn't get them. But you have the Sawtooth Valley, and that quaked, what, 2019 to 2020 to 21 was quaking big time. And then it shut off.
Yeah, and they know the Sawtooth Valley itself can make bigger quakes.
Bigger
Because they
quakes. Yeah.
studied that before, but it's on the same line, just coming down.
Correct. It's
Northwest
like
to
a
southeast.
crisscross there. Yeah, northeast to southwest, yeah, or southeast.
So it's pretty interesting once you start. Well, I look at the actual fault study first, and then I see, well, does this match anything else? Like when I find anything about a liniment. Right?
Like Stanley, Idaho sits on top of the Sawtooth Fault. All right.
Yeah.
The Sawtooth Mountains go right up there. That hits right at the top of where Stanley, Idaho is. The Copper Mountain, Salmon River Mountains. All this area has been quaking for, oh gosh, better part of a year. And because we were talking about it last year, weren't we?
And that same line, the Great Falls Tectonic Zone one, goes right up into Saskatchewan, and it goes right between Regina and Saskatoon, where all the big mines are that are there, Flin Flon, all those areas in between. And then I extended that one out, and it goes right through Churchill, Manitoba, where the harbor is, where it has that.
What did you call that fault?
It's called Great Falls Tectonic Zone because it goes through Great Falls, Montana. So that's where they came up with the name. And they found that it extends out. Well, they went to Boise with it, but they never went farther than Boise. But I extended out, and it basically goes to.
Well, they've got it going
Mendocino, basically.
northeast. They have it northeast to southwest, from Saskatchewan all the way to the Bitterroot Range of the Rockies.
Yeah. But I kept going with it, and it went right up through Saskatchewan, and then I kept
Correct.
going with it, and it went through Churchill, Manitoba, and then I kept going with it. And I think it ended up up above Svalbard, I think.
Saskatchewan comes through. Yep. Regina is right in the middle.
And it went through like where all the mines are. There's a whole bunch of mines between.
Yeah, right through Manitoba. Yeah, Lake
Regina,
Winnebago,
Saskatchewan.
Winnipeg, God's Lake, Nelson, all the way up. And if we continue it through Fox Channel, Hudson Strait, Cumberland Peninsula, then all the way over to Iceland or Greenland.
And when I did it, it went through Churchill, Manitoba, and I'd read about Churchill, Manitoba, where they've had like all these unexplained earthquakes up there, and they didn't know. Like I read all their stuff, and they said, "Well, we don't really know where this is coming from. Like, why is it shaking here?" Yeah,
we can't even see it because of the Canada sites down. They don't work. Let me say fixed it. Let me check. All right, so I'm looking at the Japanese. They downgraded it to a 4.5. Okay. Oh, they got it back, dude. It's working.
Oh, so it's back working now.
Here, yeah. Let me see live stream. I'll share it with you. Share screens. Earthquakes Canada. There we go. All right, so it's being shared for everybody. So, sorry that some things we can share and some things we can't. Bear with us because of copyright and all that stuff.
Well, like you could just do a show on like each liniment, basically.
Well, I know.
Like you could start with one and just start at one end, and like in North America, and keep going with it. See what you run into. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Intermountain seismic extend way north and way south. That's the problem. it like now I tend to do what Canuck does, and that's extend it further. But scientific,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
do that.
Intermountain seismic zone is like a big arrow, really, because it
Mhm.
goes northwest to southeast coming down, but then it goes the opposite way once you get down to the bottom of it.
Probably because it turns into something else, or they both come together.
But if you viewed them both as limits, well, it's one going northwest to southeast, and the other one's going northeast to southwest.
Right. So two separate ones, right?
Yeah.
Like the St. Lawrence one for me, I think is real. And I think that goes all the way to Hermosillo, Mexico. And that's, pretty crazy.
Well, I think the Appalachians is one, and then the Grenville Mountain Range is another. So basically,
It follows the orogenies, you mean?
anything in between that was included.
Right.
Which you could even say it's a rift zone, because really it is.
Right.
Because that's all the entire world is just mountain ranges and rifts. That's how it works. You got ranges on either side of the rifts. And if you don't limit yourself, you'll see that's what it's actually doing. Like even underwater, it's doing the same thing. So it's crazy stuff.
Let's see. And that's why courseware like what Woolsey's doing and Nick and the others, even our stuff here, is so important to have an open discussion saying, okay, they say, okay, this is what we're taught, this is how things act. And then when they get stumped, they go, I don't know what's going on. Well, that's sometimes they stop there. And we don't tend to stop anywhere. We just say, well, okay, let's go on to the next and keep going. And then that piece will fill in itself. But we have plate boundaries, and then we have rift zones. We have old rift zones, and I would call them scars. In JSL, they won't see it unless I do that.
Well, when I was studying the European quakes there that were in Croatia and on the line that goes to Iceland through Scotland where the ancient volcanoes are, when I was studying that, once you got down into Europe, they were talking about that there was an ancient rift zone there before all the mountains sprung up into it.
Where was that, Ben?
In Europe. So basically going from like Iceland all the way down through Germany and
well, doesn't it go the other side of Greece? We're on that mountain range. Because I follow when it goes all the way from there all the way into Sweden and Newfoundland, and it goes up to Svalbard. Because you can see quakes happening along that line.
Yeah, well, this one I did was like the European one. So from Iceland right on down through
Precession of basin
Germany, Switzerland, on through into Croatia, and then right on down through. It goes right through where the big Greek quake was there, the 7 outside of Izmir.
Yeah, Izmir, yeah.
And right on down through, because it goes down through Turkey and like close to Israel. And on that same line, it ends up lining up with the Red Sea, I think. So I did that one back whenever all those quakes were in Croatia. And then I looked up that same line historically. I looked up Croatia quakes historically, going back, I forget how long it was, 200 years or something like that. And
I see Puerto Rico's small, but I don't see the other one, Cat.
I looked to see if I could identify that line in the same time period showing up.
Right.
And it went right up through one of the biggest quakes in Scotland happened right near one of the ancient volcanoes. I forget what year it was now. I think it was the early 1900s. And
an earthquake in Scotland?
Yeah, it was right after Croatia had one of their big quakes because it was on the same line, and I tracked it all the way right through to Iceland because I don't remember which volcano was acting up in Iceland. Probably Grimsvötn.
Are we talking by Caracas, Kat? You see in Venezuela. She says there's an earthquake happened at 5.7 possible.
What, right now?
Yeah, I didn't see it on another site, so I'm
Yeah, I only got the one laptop with me, so I don't have
it's okay.
all my extra screens to
You
see.
feel naked, don't you, sucker?
Yeah, I just have to view it all.
Yeah, it is. It's right where actually it's east of Caracas on the point. Yeah, I can see it.
I just have to view it in my mind, like.
But it's in the European. Germans are saying it's there. I don't see it on deck at all.
Well, do they have a Venezuela one on there? I don't know whether they do or not. I can't remember. I don't think they have one on deck for Venezuela. So you wouldn't see. You'd see it as whatever the closest thing.
Right.
That it
I'm seeing something Peru. I'm seeing something Nicaragua.
Venezuela, class, strong,
No.
magnitude, 6.2.
We're saying 6.2 on mine.
9 minutes ago.
6.2.
Because it makes a scary alarm signal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it on Alamax. So it never really showed up on nothing but, Chiapas, Mexico sees it, Nicaragua sees it, Peru sees it, Bolivia sees it, Chile sees it, Puerto Rico, West Virginia.
It's not all that far from Trinidad and Tobago Island.
Right. We heard so 6.2. It does have small propagation through
Worldwide alert. Sucre, Venezuela. Magnitude 6.2. 8 minutes ago, 12:58 a.m.
Well, I consider that pretty close to Texas Liniment, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. We call it Texas Liniment, going right off the coast of like right near Caracas.
Worldwide alert. Sucre, Venezuela. Magnitude 6.2. 9 minutes ago, 12:58 a.m.
Okay, let me show you. All right, over here. I'll share it on our discussion here because it's a USGS map. So here we go. I'm going to shoot this with terrain. The earthquake is happening right down here, Trinidad, Tobago. That's not the only quake that's been here. We did have another one not too long ago. Let me see. I'll go 30 days out there. Search. Oh, poop. Come on. 30 days all. And they're not showing it. So here's a 4.4 Cumarabo, Venezuela. Follow that line and you'll see it out here, Port of Spain, somewhere down here, Barcelona, Georgetown. That line, follow that up, goes right through here, quite possibly the Texas Liniment, because there is a Jamaican quake of 4.0 too, the 18th. So 7 days.
Well, if you go the other way, it's like Peru, Venezuela, right to Iceland.
Yeah, out of Peru, Ecuador, they have some bouncing going on for sure. 5.5, then off the coast at a 5.1 recently, but Yeah. Don't count. Don't count Puerto Rico off, man, because that area is just really hot to trot for about 2 years now. Has not stopped. So,
Well, if it's coming up Texas Liniment, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, could be. Because we haven't had anything in the Cayman Islands for a while.
well, we just had one on the 18th. We had a 4.0 Jamaica. Okay, see the chicken. I'm hearing some movement out front. Just taking a look. All right. I have to look at my security cameras here. I got to make sure I lock the door on this. Woo! Yeah, Japan. The latest one is on Japan, a 5.0 freaking USGS that just came in. All right. Well, we know that one happened a while back.
Yeah.
And this one has yet to come in. Yeah. Well, anyway.
That's where all the invasion ships are getting ready to go into Guyana from Venezuela.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see it here. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting I have to push another button. So what we're talking about is the plate boundary right here, just north of Venezuela right here. There's Caracas, and this quake is somewhere right out here. Trinidad Tobago. I know there was another quake there, and the USGS doesn't have it. 30 days. There's this one here, 4.4, that happened on May 25th. Again, we don't worry about too far back because geologic time is different than ours. But you can see a concentration of West Texas, South Central Texas, then out to sea, and then down here is where this one happened. And then we had the Ascension Islands, and then there was the Angola one. Here's Craigellum down here, so it kind of goes like this from here, this direction. There's the Olympic and the Texas Liniment paralleling each other like railroad tracks.
Yeah, well, my app only does like 48 hours of quakes, but I usually can see the liniment line that it's on. Still no problem.
Well, it's because you're familiar with it.
Yeah. Well, there's some little quakes out by Sand Point there too, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, yes, sir. Up in the top, right? And we don't really see much out in the ocean because there's just in a whole lot out there to measure it, I think. But it's interesting how when quakes happen in the east, it's like lines all the way across the United States, all the way down.
Jogo de correspondência gratuit. I was trying to do a French ad on my earthquake.
Sem anúncios
Hey, come on, shut it.
Yeah.
But,
didn't wake up the dog. She's right out of it.
Oh, good. She slept through it.
Yeah, she's sound asleep.
I'm seeing some Michigan weather right now. Storm chasers.
She just rolled over though and almost went right off my lap on the floor, but I caught her before.
Well, that's your job, buddy. Yeah, very bad weather, northern Illinois, and Michigan. So we never did get the monsoon, but it's not too far from me.
The monsoon's going right up the liniment line too.
Yeah. Matter of fact, this monsoonal is from San Felipe through central Arizona, northern New Mexico, southern Wyoming into Kansas.
Yeah,
And
because we're supposed to get a whole bunch of rain here tomorrow and Monday.
it's really booming up there, Iowa and Illinois border. So they've got some storm chasers out there right now. And as the weather moves east, and it is moving towards you there, Canuck.
Yeah, because they're supposed to get it later tomorrow, so hopefully I won't have to be carrying all my stuff out in the pouring rain tomorrow when I go to leave. We'll see.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, put it in the car tonight. But anyway, it's 9:14 here on the West Coast, west part. I'm not even on the West Coast anymore. God bless America. In the west of the Rockies, west of the Rockies. That's what I'll start to do. But you got anything you want to add? Come on.
No, I can't think of anything else. That's why the doggy's all tired out. It's way past her bedtime.
All right. How about you, Clement Shrewd?
No, I think it was a good rabbit hole tonight.
Yeah, at least they got informative, right?
Right.
Yeah. We went here and there and everywhere. Connected the lines to a bunch of dots.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about the earthquakes up there in Iceland and the volcanic. And yeah. And there is weather to being made. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming out on a Saturday evening. And after the late night we had last night, boy, whoo.
I'm surprised you could come on after if it was like 5 hours long.
It was 5.5. And we had a good time on we do that every once in a while. Spend time together, laughing and yeah, rabbit hole panel. I love it. This is what JSL is about. We're not fear porn, man. No porn at all. Just straight talk. If you disagree with any one of our suppositions or our positions or what we've said, please shoot me a line. JSLdiscussion@gmail.com. And for those who don't know,
yeah, the doggy gave it 4 paws up tonight. So now they're all stuck up in the air because she's sleeping on her back, I guess. So there you go.
Man, it's so low. Can't even hear it.
During the live show, I review and talk about reports from government, private, and other reporting agencies and websites regarding celestial and terrestrial phenomena. Topics will include solar flares,
Wow, it's so quiet.
geomagnetic storms, and near-Earth asteroids and comets.
I don't know if it worked.
Monitored around the world.
It's the mellow version.
Yeah.
There's current events in the last 12 to 24 hours here on Earth consisting of volcanic, seismic, and weather events.
I know it worked for JSL.
What's happening in the local and world news. Thank you. And you can be a part of the morning report by going to twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live. Look forward to seeing you there. And remember,
Depth 87 kilometers, 19 minutes. Join us.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for your subscriptions and your tips and your participation. It's great. I want to say thank you to my guest, Clem and Canuck. Love you both. Thanks so much. You make it so fun having both of you on. And it's interesting. All I have my perception, but you have a perception too. And it's better to have, multiple perceptions on this thing because it's very complicated.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate you all. And Thank you, Flutter Girl and Big T-shirt Billy, Timmy, Kitty Cat, Eddie. Oh, Eddie was here.
Calmness.
Yeah, Eddie came here. Calmness 55. Love her.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure being on tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, it was fun as always.
Well, take care of them dogs.
Yeah, even with the doggy distractions.
Yeah, and remember, don't get none on you.
Yep.
See you guys. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.